What's going on, everybody? I go by the name of Two,
And it's your boy Senchou,
and we're here with another episode of A Shared Seat.
episode 6.
Yeah.
What's going on, my brother? How you doing today,
A
man?
little under the weather. They got a little bug going on or whatever.
Damn, man.
And how you?
Yeah. I'm doing pretty well, man. I hope you feel better.
I ain't seen you in like 30 years.
30 years? I thought it was 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was like 2 days. That's a fact, that's a fact. What's going on, y'all? Glad that you're back.
We're back, episode 6, man. We're just going to keep it rolling how we rolling. Ain't no time or no jump in it.
Right.
But as is tradition, we always start with a quote. Today's quote is from Michael Jackson.
MJ.
Rest in peace to a GOAT. The only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them to the limits of the impossible. Bars.
Right. You want to expound on that? Or what does that mean
So
to you?
to me, that means that there's things in life that we stop ourselves, because our mind is our greatest enemy in life before it is people.
Correct.
We stop ourselves from doing things because we say that we can't do it.
I agree.
We put limits on ourselves instead of going out and pursuing it.
We put limits on ourselves.
Yes, we
Stop
do put
ourselves.
limits on ourselves. We
I
stop
agree.
ourselves. Sometimes it could be outside people that tell you can't do it. Friends, family, acquaintances.
The
strangers.
devil.
The devil.
Yeah. Foosball, the devil. Right? You say, nah, but you're absolutely correct.
Nah, So we can do anything. We just limit ourselves.
I heard a quote a while ago, and I don't remember who it was from. But the quote said, the man who says he can and the man who says he can't, they're both right. You know what I'm saying? So if
But
you say
either
it's
one is more right than the other because
Right.
he'll make it happen.
right, or they'll make it not happen. You say so the one who says he can't do it and the one who says he can't do it, they're both right.
Mm-hmm.
So very interesting. So a shout out to MJ again for that dope quote of the day.
See, even deeper what that quote makes me
Yeah.
think of is purpose.
Purpose.
One major thing as we get older that I've realized is that we feel like there's a purpose for our life.
Right.
Like we're here for a reason.
Right.
Whoever you may believe in, whether it's God, Yahweh, Allah, and the countless other religions, that creator, we feel that creator gave us a purpose for our specific life on this earth.
Do you agree with that?
I'm open-minded to it because I don't know all the answers.
I agree with we all have a purpose, and the Most High has given us a purpose, and I wholeheartedly believe once you know what your purpose is, life kind of unfolds for you. Like all the things that you want, the doors are just slowly open. A lot
I
of
agree to
people are
that.
Moving around without their acknowledgement of their whys. Like,
Yeah.
why do I do this?
But how do people even find their purpose though?
That's a good question. I'd say it would start with what feels good.
Okay.
A lot of people work 9 to 5, got a job, go to their job every day, and they hate their job. And they're living as if their purpose is to pay bills, in comparison to living in their true happiness and stuff. So I think a big part of your purpose is how you're feeling and how that feeling reflects to the world.
Okay. So basically, you have to go through a little trial and error process.
Trial and error, living and learning, trial and error, ups and downs, just living your life. And I think a lot of us know our purpose, or a lot of people may know their purpose, but they're so caught up in the world that they try to push their purpose off. Like, I'll get to it later. Like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, but I'll get to it because it's there for me. So we get caught
Bars.
in everything else that the world got to offer, and we don't live in our purpose, and that just causes you more confusion and heartache anyway.
True. Because you're internally telling yourself what you should be doing,
Right.
but you're not focused on what you really should be doing.
Right. That's where dis-ease comes from. Dis-ease. anxiety, not living your purpose, knowing that you're supposed to be doing something and you're doing something else. That's where anxiety comes from, when you know you're supposed to be handling something, but you're doing something else. And it causes that internal disease.
Yeah.
Your soul or your spirit or the you that encapsulates your body has been here since time has been here.
Yes.
Right.
It's been materializing in multiple forms. Energy can never be created nor destroyed. It just changes shape into a different form.
Right. So it's up to you to realize, why am I here again? What am I not getting? And ultimately, you already know it, but you're fighting it. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You know where your devil lies. You know where your angels are on your shoulders. But you're choosing, or you're still living this fight of this real world that we call this matrix, and we rather play this matrix game in comparison to playing the game. Oh, is Resident is hitting?
No, it's not that. No, it's not that. But we accept that the Matrix is real.
The matrix is real, just like this table is real, because we create it to be real in our heads. But if we know this is nothing but atoms and pushed very, very close together to seem like it's a solid mass, if you know that consistently and you keep that in the forefront of your mind, you'll realize you could punch your whole hand through this, because it's not really solid. Just like this matrix is not really solid.
These are going back to experiments that the government and the Nazis were doing.
Oh, now we're going, now we're going somewhere else. But hey, it makes sense. They tell you that this world is round. Hey,
Is it
look,
flat? Is it round?
That's
Personally don't know the answer, because look, if we can accept that history is dictated by the victor of any situation, that means we need to also accept that information that is given to us is filtered and given by the people who want us to know only certain things. So
I agree.
yeah, I haven't been in outer space. Yes, they could say these guys have been in outer space and this is what it looks like, you know what I'm saying? But I physically haven't been in outer space.
Right. So what can you do but go to the, just like when you don't know something about your family, you gotta go to the eldest member of your family.
Go talk
So,
to them and ask them their history.
Go to the eldest records. The world didn't become round but a couple of 100 years ago. Maybe not even 100 years ago. But I don't really know. But this is a fairly new concept.
Because it was like, who was it, Copernicus or somebody?
I don't know. But it was always standing on four pillars. You know, back in the day. I'm just saying, we don't know. But I can't. But one thing I do know is the people that tell us is round have been lying to us forever.
That's a big fact.
So
how can we keep taking their information and believing in it? Yeah, I understand.
So if they gonna tell us for 40, 50 years that he got shot with a magic bullet, and then tell us yesterday, it really was this. Imagine
the other things that they're keeping hidden from us and the things that they're lying about. Of course, that's why I said I cannot take 100% that information that the earth is round. I never physically flown up there and don't know, you know what I'm saying?
So how is that we have these places that we can measure in distance, in space, that show no curvature, but yet we still gonna go with we spinning this way on a tilt around something else spinning, and nah, bro.
Bars.
To me, it don't make sense if I could look up every day and see the same stars.
You're making me think of that time. I know it's a little jump back, but that time we had the party and my grandfather seen that little a flickering in the sky, and we didn't see it. Well, just for us to look it up, and it actually happened.
Well, I thought I see what he was talking about, but in the same sense, I wear glasses, so I'm not sure what the hell I see. But
he saw something that everybody could. Backstory: we was having a family party. My grandfather was outside. We was all outside, looking in the sky. My grandfather seen something like a flickering of like a sun or a star or something.
Right.
Everybody came outside. We didn't see it.
Well, I seen something.
Oh, well, you seen something similar to what he was talking about.
Yes.
But a great majority of the people there didn't see it. and I had a worrying moment for my grandfather. Some star was exploding and dying out,
Right.
and we couldn't see it, but he physically seen it.
Right. Now keep in mind, he old as shit and I wear glasses. So we both aren't in the best reference points of looking at shit.
Shit, word.
But we seen some and they was clowning me. You ain't see that.
And then they was worried for my grandfather, like, Senchou, what's going on with your grandpa? You know what I'm saying? But lo and behold, the majority of us were going crazy, and he was one of the few people that could actually see it.
Yep.
Looked up the article and everything, and there was something going on with the stars and the planets that he could see. And I think it's because his spirit is in tune in a certain way. You know, he's not from America, he's from the motherland.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he could see it in a certain way that we can't.
I could take that.
Well, on the topic of family, are generational lessons and curses real?
Are generational lessons and curses real? Let's start with the lessons.
Let's do it.
We as people come from our history and our lessons being spoken, like spoken word history, orated history,
oral tradition history.
oral tradition.
Yes.
So we know majority about what we know about life from someone being, or multiple people in history being the record keepers of these things, so they can pass it down.
And you know what? Just to go back to earlier what we were saying, yo, if you want to learn about yourself, go talk to the oldest living person in your family.
Now, if they're not senile, you winning. You got the information.
Yes.
So that's one aspect that proves that information and generational lessons are passed down. As far as generational curses, a bunch of different elements that are hereditary.
I think it's even deeper than that.
Oh no, it's definitely deeper than that, but I'm just scratching the surface.
Okay, I was about to say, because I feel like we can inherit generational memories, generational trauma.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
just scratching the surface on a physiological level, we know that there's Down syndrome and there's all these different things that are hereditarily passed down on the physical level. Now, on the spiritual level, as far as generational curses, I feel like there's alcoholism
Yes.
that gets passed down.
Okay, certain things.
Drug
Abuse and use.
Yeah, drug abuse, use. Like they say that we got to break the cycles. Like we're being
Poverty.
Poverty.
Bad spending habits.
Correct.
You know.
And they say a child is influenced by two different things majorly. One, your DNA, like who you're born to, like you can't get past your DNA, and where you were raised.
Very true. That plays two major parts. Yes.
The most important parts on your life is how you were raised and who raised you.
A child that lives in war views the world differently than a child that grew up in peace.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct. Absolutely.
Basically, at some point as people, we have to learn our history and why certain things may be happening in our lives, or we are afflicted by certain ailments and diseases. We have to break these curses.
Right.
The
But you gotta
breaker of
acknowledge
change. You have to acknowledge it first
Right.
and be the breaker of change.
Correct.
Chains. I might have said chains there. My bad. Got a little list.
Change the change.
Change the chains.
Change
Ooh, change the chains.
Change the change.
One of the biggest things, and this ties into a topic that we were going to talk about later, is that certain cultural curses, if we were taught it at some point, we could have been the breaker of change. So, example, poverty. When we get money, we're not told how to manage it. We're not told how to invest. We're not told how to truly save, right? When we get it.
And that can become a generational curse.
Yes, because
I'm
their
with
kids could pick up on that from you, could pass it on to their kids. But if we were taught these things, if our parents couldn't teach us, the place that was supposed to teach us this is school.
That's a very interesting aspect. So you think
Because
schools will
outside,
teach you that?
you said, look, even though it's your DNA, and where you were raised, your school plays a whole part in it too.
Yeah, that's part of where you were raised.
Your social construct. That's where you get all your social constructs. So if we're going through school and we're not learning the things that we as adults that we learning now that we didn't learn as kids, and because we're adults, we have the choice to choose if we want to break it or not, or do it or not, as compared to a kid who is taught and learned it, and then it becomes a part of their subconscious.
Right. It's easier to raise a child than it is to break a man. As an adult, the way you break it is beyond you now. Now, when you have kids, you got to make sure they're not raised in those, because you're already affected. It's over for you.
So you got to learn something that you didn't learn before to teach them something.
Correct.
That they wouldn't know if you ain't teach them.
Correct. Yeah, and I think ultimately that should be every parent's goal, not to give the kids all the things that they didn't have, but teach them all the things that they didn't know.
Yes.
You know?
It's easier said than done. I'll say that it's easier said than done.
Because you got to want the change as a parent.
Yes.
But if
and that's
you
why
don't
I said
see,
it. It's your choice.
Yeah, if you don't see where you did wrong and you don't see how the things done wrong to you affected you, then you're not going to know to change it.
Yep. And guess what?
Yelling at your kids.
And a continuation of generational curses.
Correct. Correct. Things they didn't teach in school. What's something else that you think they should teach in school?
Well, I will say that I am not in school right now. I've been out of high school. No. Because when we think of what we were taught in school compared to what's being taught right now, you know what I'm saying? So I can't say with 100% certainty what's being taught in school right now because I'm not physically there. But I know that when I was in high school, that I wish I had more emotional intelligence classes, conflict resolution classes.
Righteous.
You know what I'm saying? Financial management. Real world investing and money management, you know, because things in life are, as you become an adult and start stepping into your feet, you know, a lot of us listening and watching right now can relate to this. There are things, like we said, we weren't taught, and then we're getting into it for the first time, and companies or businesses or other people can take advantage of us so early into the game.
Correct.
Because we don't know any of this stuff, right? I can use this as an example. When I went to go buy my car, first car, I bought some for somebody. I was going to use it for school. I was young and naive. They said $1,000 is yours.
You just have to get a car.
I had to get a car. I had to go to school. I went to school out of state. You know what I'm saying? I drove the car. The car broke down on me as I hit the toll on the Jersey Turnpike.
That person knew it was going to happen, too.
Yup. Took advantage because it was my first time buying a car. You know what I'm saying? Did it. Second time, I went to a dealership. Now I know, but this is things I didn't know before. I found the car that I have now, and I really love it. Car fully paid off and everything. But the salesman got me for extra money because I didn't know the terms and lingos, and I could have been like, if I questioned it more, then I would have realized that he was just
getting you.
You can.
Right. I think one thing they should teach in school is like wildlife or survival skills 101. Like,
that's major too. Yeah.
I know grown adults that don't know how to start a fire. Like, I know how it is in theory. Like, I can see it, but like if I had to do like 40 days in the woods, or like what's that TV show? Yeah, if I had to do Naked and Afraid, I'd be cold and hungry, something like that.
Yeah, that's true. Because, you know,
building a fort, building shelter.
How to cook.
How to cook.
A lot. Look, fast food.
They got home economics in school. They got.
I'll tell you right now, a lot of
home ec in school.
Okay, I was about to say, because you know a lot of the generations, and yeah, we can talk from our favorite reference, but we got to also think on a larger scale too. Fast food has taken over major. So a lot of people have stopped cooking because they could just buy some fast food. So again, to the next generation, they're not learning that. Yeah, they can make probably simple meals. Yeah, but they're not learning the overall essence of cooking, like how we had varied meals when we were kids. Right. Because they could just buy some fast food. They'll be like, all right, I can make a bologna sandwich, or I can make some eggs or mac and cheese, or fry some chicken. But if I want something better, like some oxtails, I know that's a little deep, or some crab, so instead of going to buy and learning how to make it, they're just buying some fast food real quick.
Well, I think that goes into the need for that survival skills thing, because it's one thing to go into the supermarket and buy you some fish. It's another thing to go out into the world and go fish, cut it and cook it. Some people have to rely on the supermarkets to get their food. They don't know how to
Go hunt,
grow tomatoes. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to, plant squash, or to, fish or crab or any of these things. So
gardening.
I think
Do they
gardening.
Is gardening in
It wasn't in our school.
It wasn't in our school.
It was in our elementary school.
I did see an article come out recently in our area that they're instilling gardening into one of the elementary schools.
I mean, when I was in school, they had gardening in our elementary school.
Not when I was growing up. I don't remember that.
You had a little greenhouse and all that. In our
Major
school.
thing, and I was just talking to him about this off camera. I lived in one town as a kid before I moved to the town that I currently live in, right? So when I was a kid, I was learning Japanese, I played the violin, and I played soccer. I was real good too. Once I moved to this new area, the school system did not have a soccer team.
Nah, you came
They had no Japanese.
play basketball.
It was all play basketball or football, and all your friends was outside in the streets.
Yep.
My entire focus and the things that I like changed instantly, just because the school system didn't have the things that I was doing in another school system.
Now that also goes back to what I was saying, either your DNA or where you was raised, because you'd be a classic concert violinist at this point if you were cultivated in that reality. But nah, you play ball a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit,
But it didn't leave you because you still got a soccer jersey on, so it is what it is.
Like the same for teams, it's just interesting. To think about,
that has a lot to do with your raising, your productivity in life, where you were raised, and your DNA. And just to add on to that, that's why they make it such a big thing about who your bloodline and who's the son of who, and who's related to who.
Because if we really knew,
right? If we really knew, we gonna go there, but we really knew. Why are the presidents related? But that's neither here nor there. We're not going that far. It's not one of those shows. We just sharing the seat.
That a little kid found that out.
Right.
A little kid discovered that all the presidents were related. Minus one, I think.
And
that was Martin Van Buren because he's Dutch.
Or JFK because he's they killed him. I mean, like you said, they
killed him because he didn't fit the
word. He wasn't down with us.
He said, "Nah, I want to expose."
But that's neither here. We're not getting into. Yeah, I mean, that's
not
another
a conspiracy
episode.
Theory show. Yeah.
Oh, we're definitely gonna do a conspiracy theory show. I mean, so if you got ideas or conspiracy theories, hit us up.
We could talk about it. I'm down to talk about it.
I mean, we don't know shit, so it's like it's just something fun to talk about.
True, because who really knows anything?
I mean,
damn, we can't even play that sound. Could we? Is that copyright?
I don't know. If we say it, it's not like they're not gonna stop us from doing.
Yo, honestly, it's just the homage. Don't sue us.
Yeah, please don't. We ain't got no money anyway, so fuck it. As I drink my water with the label taken off of it because we have no money. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Don't sue us.
Maybe we'll get a sponsor out of that.
I mean, holla at him.
See, if that's the case, though, you know what I'm saying, with breaking generational curses and stuff, that means you have to have the courage to be different. You know what I'm saying? You have to stand out from what your family's doing, what your friends are doing, and the people around you. You have to change your thought process and be someone that leads the way to create the change.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Because, when we're kids, we tell kids, be yourself. Always express yourself. But when we become adults, it's like we have to conform.
Right. We talked about that before the show. And I say the same thing. As a kid, you don't, like, when you're an adult, you get comfortable with the ground under your feet.
Yes.
But as a kid, you know for a fact that you can fly.
Yes. And then that ground tries to clip your wings at some point.
Right. In this world around us, like, walk in a line, like, go to this class to that class. Since you were a kid, they were
Don't
teaching you how
speak
to
out. Don't question anything.
Yeah.
Don't speak out.
raise your hand if you want to talk. So it's like when they're forcing us. Well, when you're trained to be a sheeple, and when you're trained to be sheeple, you kind of forget who you are and where you came from, because before you got into this system, you come from eternity.
That's very true.
I mean, you know, you are direct. I know, like, I don't believe in God. I know God, because you can believe something today and believe something else tomorrow, but what you know don't change. So here's
Bars.
yeah, here's my
Bars.
understanding to know that God exists. I have two parents, right? That had two parents. That had two parents before them, and two parents, and two parents, and two parents, and all were and off into viscosity. When did that start? That's just proof that I've always been here, and I'm a direct descendant of the Most High. The fact that I got a belly button, that means I was cut from somebody or something other than me, greater than me, and that always
Damn,
existed.
bars.
I mean, so
Bars.
So
we
I-
are unique and a clone. Bars.
right, we're the seeds of the tree. We're the seeds of the fruit that's on the tree. That's that when that fruit hit the ground and that decomposes and that seed goes back into the ground, it's gonna grow another tree. You ain't that special, but you are everything.
Yes.
You said, because every little piece of you is made off of everything else that was already here.
Bars.
Bars. You know, in my opinion.
In,
I mean,
in his humble opinion.
in my
you know
humble
what I'm saying?
opinion, like we get too deep into stuff. I do that too much. I'm sorry. We
What are you
lost.
apologizing for? What did you do wrong?
Because I know we got a plan. We got a
it's
script
alright.
of things here, but
It's fine.
we
Because
just
you know why? Natural conversation is better than sticking to a script.
way better.
Yeah,
I agree.
come on, bro.
I agree.
Because think about it. You know, see, look. All right, since you want to get back on topic,
Okay.
the power of what if thinking.
Mm,
Yeah,
the
come
power
on, man.
of what if thinking. I think that created the whole universe.
If people, yeah. Oh wow, yeah. Because somebody was like, "What if there was a sun?" Or something was like, "What if there was a sun?"
No, it's dark.
And there's-
Let there be light.
Let me throw something to light it up around this bitch.
Right?
Ugh. You know what? It's still a little boring. Let me throw some little creatures around.
In your humble opinion,
In my humble opinion.
it sounds valid to me. You know what I mean?
Nah, but the power of what if? What we were originally getting at with that is that if when you want to truly change your life, you have to change the way you think and the way you speak.
Correct.
Those two things have a major impact on your purpose, your passion, what you want to be in life, things you want to do in life. But it all starts internally with this, and with this.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So instead of saying or thinking, I can't do it, I don't think that's possible. What if you change it to, you know what? What if I take this route? What if I go talk to this person? What if I look this up? What if I go research this thing? And you realize how easy it is to get where you need and want to be in life.
I agree.
Real easy.
I agree.
Because anything you want to do, there's a person or a resource that you can go talk to make it happen.
Right. Thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that died that wrote books on this stuff.
To get where you,
To
because
get
we ain't the
exactly-
first people to do it.
You ain't nothing
We ain't
new.
the first people, and that's you know what, and even deeper on that, because this is a little tangent. That's why they destroy libraries. That's why they ban books. That's why they burn stuff, because people have been going through these same things over and over and over.
Correct.
And they've been trying to warn future generations about it. That's why generational lessons and curses exist. They don't want it to keep happening.
Right. Then they try.
We don't want it to keep happening,
Right.
but somebody out there wants it to because they want to profit off it. You dirty motherfuckers.
Dirty.
real dastardly dirty motherfuckers.
He said, "This is America." Yeah. That hey, this is what we.
Man,
I love
listen,
it though.
I'm under the impression that America is one giant experiment.
Yeah,
It's an experiment. The people who in charge don't care about the people. They just do what they want and see how the people react and see what they can get away with.
I could take that. I love America. I love America. Go for America. Oh, everything. I love America. You know what I mean? I'm American.
I am American. I'm Jamaican too, but
No,
we
you
can
Jamaican.
also-
You
I
just
am
live in
Jamaican.
America.
Yes,
Nah, I was
yes,
just being
yes.
silly. The thing about America is that it was something else before it was America.
Yes, it was the land of the natives, the indigenous people.
So,
And then you know what they thought of America as? A turtle.
Turtle Island, American, Morocco, East. There's a bunch of different things before America, Vespucci, and all the bullshit that they try to say it was. What it wasn't. What it
Yeah, where like this was a whole land, had people, cultural
Right.
history, you know,
for hundreds of thousands
of years, and they came through and destroyed all that.
Right.
And the remnants that are around now are forced to live in specific areas.
You know, I think it's crazy that they'll knock all the noses off of sphinxes and different monoliths of statues, and then they build a Mount Rushmore. Why?
And they get mad if you try to knock it down
Why though? Why?
because they wanted us to not be proud of ourselves
Well,
while being proud of their people.
right. Well, that kind of constitutes saying like, okay, those statues and stuff, they gotta be us because they don't defile their shit.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
Christopher Columbus statues everywhere. So you're kind of doing us a favor by doing the dumb shit. You know, but I want to know, why is it? Well, I mean, I know. Well,
Why
let's.
they were shooting the noses off of.
I think I got an idea of why they were doing that.
I mean, we can look it up and see what that information that these people are telling us.
All right. Well, I want to start with my own thoughts.
Yeah, let me hear that. I'm gonna look it up.
For this exact same whitewashing concept where we can't identify who we are through those pictures because they're going to deface them. So we don't know that we're them. So we can't have power to tie to. Sort of like what we were saying, if you knew your grandfather was a great chief somewhere, you're going to stand on those shoulders of those giants with a different vigor in life because you know where you came from.
Time out.
Uh-oh.
So apparently, what we think is the reason, or
We're completely wrong?
you know, information is based on who's telling it. So I don't know.
Okay.
So generationally, we were taught that the white man shot the nose off the sphinxes because
Napoleon did.
Napoleon not shot but the white man
Yeah, I guess so.
shot the nose off the sphinxes because he didn't like how glamorous they were and he wanted us to forget who we were, type shit, right?
I don't know why he did it, but why did they say that he did it?
Well, apparently Napoleon didn't do it at all.
Napoleon didn't do it.
No.
Who did it?
The nose of the Sphinx was not shot off by cannon fire. The most widely accepted explanation is that it was intentionally broken off by a Sufi Muslim named Muhammad Sa'im al-Daha in the 14th century as an act of iconoclasm. He reportedly was upset by local peasants who were making offerings to the Sphinx, viewing that worship as idolatry.
Okay. That goes for the Sphinx. What about the other hundreds of noses?
Other monuments and noses.
Why is that? That same Muhammad nigga just ran through bad shit and was just breaking shit? Nah.
All the noses? Nah. See,
Nah,
that's
it's
why I
bigger than
said
that.
information
Right.
is based on who the victor
Right.
wants
So they try to
decide.
blame it on the Muslims. I'm not saying Muhammad didn't do it. I'm just saying he didn't do all of them.
Nah, not every single one.
Right. Very interesting. Okay. But I don't know. I don't know what necessarily why it was done on a
Honestly,
big scale.
Look, maybe the noses had something in it that was valuable.
Cocaine. Nah, I'm joking. There wasn't like a bunch of Tupacs with they got like a diamond nose ring on all of these shits. I think it's clear, like you can tell where somebody's from the size of their nose. I mean, it sounds funny, but the shape of their
Maybe
nose.
in that their culture, yeah.
I mean, the Negroid nose is thick. The Asiatic nose is like thin. Know what I mean?
Yes.
Jewish nose.
Yeah, there's different.
You saying like you
depending
know
on
who
your
knows?
culture and people,
You saying
you have different features that are specifically for y'all. Yes.
right? So if we could some way confuse people by taking off one of the major things, what would be your nose or your lips?
Mm-hmm.
We kind of know those ain't white people lips. Those is nigga lips. Now I'm joking. I'm saying. Those is Negroid lips. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion,
In my humble opinion.
you never heard of General Butt Naked?
Nah, that sounds like some fucking.
That's some
joke.
bullshit, right? Nah,
Yeah.
check it out.
Who the fuck is this thing?
Google it. General Butt Naked. You thought I was bullshitting? Nigga, they ain't butt naked. He go to war naked.
Wow. Joshua Milton Blahi, better known as General Buck Naked, is a Liberian preacher and philanthropist best known for becoming a warlord during the first Liberian Civil War. Wow.
Thugger.
He was just a military general in the first Liberian War who led a unit called the Naked Base Commandos. Oh, time out. Time out, bro. Literally had an entire unit of naked people.
Bro, you don't want to fight a nigga.
Bugging.
Think about it.
He became known for going into combat wearing no clothing.
That's what I'm saying. Yo, this nigga's crazy. I don't want to fight you. I don't want no smoke with you if you don't got no clothes on.
Yo,
how's you fighting somebody?
wild.
That's a different type of psychological war.
You know what? Guess what? Today's episode was titled, everybody, and we stuck on topic, even though we went off on tangents. Episode 6 is titled "Exploring the Unknown."
Mm-hmm. Quote from MJ was, "The only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them to the limits of the impossible." So don't get caught up in what you think is meant and set in stone for you. Reach those heights, break those barriers,
And question everything.
Don't
just conform. You're
Right.
unique for a reason. Yes, we're all not special, because if all of us are here, we're not special, but you are unique in your own way.
Correct.
You just have to find your purpose, the calling that's truly there for you. Yes, it's going to take some trial and error, but once you do find it and heed to that voice that is your spirit, don't be afraid to go with it. It's your boy Senchou.
It's your boy Tumah.
Peace.
General Butt Naked.
General Butt Naked is crazy.
Yeah, that's diabolical.